Oh my days. Oh my days. Oh my god, I wasn't planning on going live, guys. But we're back live. I planned to do a bit of a watch along for the extra time and penalties of the Leverkusen Roma game. If you're not following along, Bayer Leverkusen were trailing 2-0 to Roma at home. Now, that wouldn't have been the end of their Europa League journey because they were 2-0 up on aggregate. But 2-2, they brought it back. Um, wow. Absolutely crazy. So I'm getting confused. I'm just my brain is gone. I'd finished the live stream. I went out walking the dogs, and I was watching it on my phone or listening to it as I was walking the dogs. The second half, and I could not believe it. I could not believe it. As soon as I heard they were 2-0 down, I thought it's not over. But then they got a goal back, which obviously meant on aggregate 2-1, Leverkusen would have gone through, which wouldn't have been the worst thing in the world. But then obviously they've got the second goal, 2-2, which kept the unbeaten record intact. Now, as a reminder, that's 49 games unbeaten now for Bayer Leverkusen. Absolutely incredible. I mean, the last time I went there, the Bayer Arena versus VfB Stuttgart in the Bundesliga a couple of weeks ago. Again, similar thing. Leverkusen was it 2-0 down or a similar thing happened? They brought it back in the 95th minute. This was, I believe, the 96th minute. How do they do it? How do they do it? The year Manchester United won the treble, they won or drew or got so many points so late on in games. Leverkusen are doing exactly that. You just know when that's happening, they're on a journey for two massive things. I can't see anyone beating them. It's just baffling. I was walking the dogs, listening to the commentary. I must have walked into about 10 fences because I couldn't concentrate. I mean, I'm not even a Leverkusen fan. I got my bucket hat on here, but I'm so consumed, so sucked into the story. We've recently done, about an hour ago, we just finished a live stream debating whether a Bayer Leverkusen unbeatable or an invincible treble would be more shocking than Leicester City winning the Premier League in 2016. Most of you said the Leverkusen story is better or more impressive. But I thought, what an idiot. I've done that live stream and I've jinxed them because now the unbeaten record is over. So, yeah, I wasn't planning on doing a live stream. But then when it got to 2-2, everything was labelled up. Watch along for extra time. I thought this was going to be amazing. Live watch along, extra time and penalties. But we don't even need that. Why do we ever doubt Bayer Leverkusen? It is ridiculous. I'm sweating. I'm absolutely sweating. It's mad. I wonder what Leverkusen fans are actually feeling themselves because as a neutral, it's unbelievable. Crazy stuff. We've got a few of you in the house. I thought, spur of the moment, I'm just going to jump on, stuff it. All the live streaming equipment was there ready. 17th time overtime goal. It's getting boring. That's the worst script ever. Who wrote that? It's not very creative. See, if this was WWE, World Wrestling Entertainment, it's like the Bloodline storyline, isn't it? For those that watch wrestling, it just goes on and on and on. But it's impressive nonetheless. And I cannot wait for the Europa League final. Unfortunately, I think it's on a Wednesday night where I work. So I'm going to have to watch that at work. It's a shame I can't do a watch along for that one. This is amazing. Thanks for getting involved as well, guys, in the comment section. Jesus Christ, a lot of you are getting involved in the comment section. Again, spur of the moment, guys. I was debating earlier on whether Leicester City was more impressive than Leverkusen, but again, it's not just the manner of the fact that they're undefeated. So many of these games, they're drawing. But who was it? Was it Xabi Alonso which said it's important just to not be beaten? People, I'm struggling for words here. Absolutely crazy. I've got it on next to me. But it's the point of matches aren't just to win, are they? It's winning titles is from not losing. Those vital points, those last minute goals, all contribute at the end of the season. There we go. I'm just seeing all I'm going to show you a glimpse. You're not supposed to see it for copyright reasons, but I've got it on the phone. Absolute scenes. I'm so glad I've got TNT Sports this season. I've not checked the Villa score, but I'm guessing Aston Villa are out of the Conference League. Could we get confirmation in the comments below, guys? They were trailing 1-0, which meant I think they were 5-2 down on aggregate last time I saw. Not sure how that ended. Anyone want to bet money on Atalanta? Wow, I mean, they absolutely schooled Liverpool, didn't they? But I can't see anyone beating this Leverkusen team. It's just when we think the story is over. I mean, worst case scenario, they'd have had to, when they were 2-0 down, they'd have had to go into extra time and penalties. Would that have contributed to a loss? If they'd have lost 2-0 in normal time and it went into extra time and penalties and Leverkusen would have won, would that have meant the streak is still alive? I don't know. Let us know in the comments below, guys. Hello, Tina. I've just said bye to you, Tina. We finished the last live stream, but we've done a spur of the moment one. The missus has gone to bed, the dogs have walked, and I'm buzzing. I just came on to find the highlights of the game and found you started a new stream. Sorry to disappoint you, Tina. Ladies and gents, if you have tuned in expecting to see Frimpong and all the lads, and you're watching an English bloke in a bucket hat drinking poor beverage in weirdly a Bochum cup as well. Not very on theme. Atalanta 4-0 with half hour to go. Leverkusen to score 5. You wouldn't put it past them, would you, mate? You really wouldn't. It could happen. This is crazy. Leicester City, for me, it's not even impressive as Kaiserslautern winning the German league. It's true. It's true. I mean, let's not compare Leicester City and Leverkusen in the pecking order of their retrospective leagues. Obviously, historically, by Leverkusen have been called like Neverkusen and stuff like that, or whatever the German equivalent is. But Bayer Leverkusen are, far more progressed, or were at the time, compared to Leicester City. You'd probably compare Leicester to, like, not even Bochum, because I mean Bochum are down there fighting relegation in the Bundesliga, but Leicester City, just to remind you, were like, was it 5,000 to 1 on odds to win the Premier League, and they just survived from the Great Escape the season prior. So maybe it would be like Bochum winning the Premier League or winning the Bundesliga. Olympiacos, they're 2-0 up. Wow. Villa have had it. Jesus Christ. So you're saying it would have counted as a loss. So, yeah, I mean, common sense, isn't it, Roy? If Leverkusen had have lost 2-0 and it would have gone to extra time and Leverkusen would have won on penalties, technically the undefeated streak as a whole would have ended there. Cole, no, because they lost a game then, because in overtime the game would be over if they lost. Yeah, it's a tricky one. I'm sure we'd have found a loophole to keep the hopes alive for us fake plastic Leverkusen. I'm not a Leverkusen supporter. I'm just loving the story. I'm here for the journey, here. Let's be honest, people take football way too seriously. I get so many serious comments, and you're a so-and-so fan and you're wearing this, and I'm just a football fan who's loving life, who's not got work tomorrow morning. I'm loving life in my bucket hat. Pardon me, guys. I hope Leverkusen have ambition and keep the squad intact. Xabi committing is a positive. He's done such a good thing by not going to Liverpool, and I'm not hating on Liverpool. It's whoever, well, obviously we know the final manager, but whoever was to follow in Klopp's footsteps would have suffered a similar fate, I think, to Fergie. Following Fergie, it would have been very difficult. And for a young manager like Alonso, create your legacy now, mate, because I think you're going to get poached by Real Madrid after next season. Fantastic, though. I mean, let's be honest. Even as an Englishman, a lot of us don't really know over here that Leverkusen maybe aren't the most liked of German teams because of their, connections with Bayer. They're owned by a pharmaceutical company, and Germany are a bit funny with that, aren't they? Obviously, there's a dislike for RB Leipzig and so on. He probably stays. Xhaka is old enough to stay, so I think it's good. Yeah, I mean, the mix, the balance of the team is absolutely fantastic. Again, I've had it on in the background the first half whilst doing the live stream earlier on, guys, and I was listening to the commentary in the second half whilst walking the dog, so I've not been religiously watching the game. But the excitement just from the commentary alone has just been the same as any other Leverkusen game. I mean, I always say it as well. I came to the Bundesliga at the start of the season for Kane, as did most English people, but we stayed for Leverkusen, or for all of German football. I've got loads of love for German football, but the story has kept me hooked. Dislike for RB Leipzig is the nicest thing. Someone has described the pure hate they face every week. So next season, guys, there's a lot of German subscribers. And firstly, I'd like to say Dankeschön. Apologies for some of my pronunciations. I am making it a goal of mine to relearn German. From obviously school, I learned the odd little bit, but years I've forgotten most of it. But through following the Bundesliga and wanting to do more Bundesliga and Bundesliga 2 content and below. We've done Alemannia Aachen, but wanting to do more German content on the channel. There is, like, I'm thinking of going to Hoffenheim versus RB Leipzig next season, or the other way around. RB Leipzig versus Hoffenheim. I know getting tickets to Bundesliga games is difficult, but I think with Hoffenheim, there might be a possibility, purely for the fact that they are arguably, definitely, the two most hated Bundesliga teams. I mean, Bayern are disliked for their success, but I think that will soften now that they've ended their unbeatable run. Guys, get involved in the comments below. Again, it's the spur of the moment. And I seem so hypocritical because I've got a Dortmund shirt behind, but again, I'm loving the Bundesliga in general. Dortmund not having the best of seasons in the Bundesliga, but I am going to be fully behind Dortmund as well in the Champions League final. I know I'm not going to be able to get a ticket. I'm going to try, but I am going to go down to Wembley to film all the build-up for the Real Madrid versus Dortmund Champions League final in a couple of weeks. And we are going to be doing a live watch-along outside Wembley, if I can't get a ticket, of course. So we are going to, I was hoping for an all-German final. No disrespect to Real Madrid, because obviously they've got England's star man, Bellingham. But in terms of Leverkusen, Christ, get me a cigarette. I don't even smoke, but I need something just to chill out. That's crazy. That's crazy. Come on, guys, get your comments in, and we can just celebrate the love of football, German football as well. Let's say thanks to the guests we had earlier on the live stream. I did say I was going to catch up with you on Instagram, but as I said, I went straight out to walk the dogs, and I've had still on now, the Joe Cole was talking about. I've not even seen the goals. I've heard the goals. Oh my God, it was an own goal. It was a bloody own goal. Whipped in. Oh my God, it literally hits him in the face. Ladies and gents, that is crazy. That's crazy. The luck of Leverkusen, Christ. They have got the gods, the footballing gods, fully behind them, haven't they? That's crazy. You know, when you're playing football in school and you had to have one of those sponge balls and everyone would deliberately try and whack it at the dinner ladies square in the face. Was it only me that did that? It was like a dinner lady being hit in the face with a football. Absolutely crazy. Cole Drake is in the comments. Thank you for my Deutsche lessons, my German lessons, mate, in the comments. I really do appreciate it. As I said, I will make it a goal of mine to eventually be able to speak German, as I'd love to cover German football. I've fallen in love with the German game. Let's just hope Germany don't draw England. They don't come up against each other in the Euros. But hey, nothing but competitive rivalry. Well, Hoffenheim versus RB Leipzig, you won't see any hate. I mean, especially if it's in Leipzig, Hoffenheim, they've got no outside fans. There we go. I didn't mean hate amongst fans. I meant the curiosity of going to two of the most hated teams. Not that they hate each other. As an outsider, as a Brit, it would be incredibly interesting. Cole's also said Leverkusen is the least disliked. It's the least disliked of all plastic clubs in Germany. So most people are fine with them winning. Bayer basically created the whole city, and basically, yeah. So as a background story, guys, if you are watching this and you are English, obviously we know kind of Leverkusen through this season, of course, the success of this season, but probably from the early 2000s, from missing out on a treble. Some of their great players they had around that time, Ballack being one of the most famous, but you can tell by just looking at the badge, you've got the Bayer logo. Bayer are big in England as well. As I joked, you know, they helped me clear up my rash cream. I was only joking about that. They're owned by a pharmaceutical company, and no one really likes companies controlling clubs. And as I said earlier on in the live stream, tomorrow's video, I did ask you on a poll on YouTube, would you prefer me to edit up the Schalke video, the Valtins Arena tour tomorrow, or would you prefer me to get out in the rare English sun and film some content? The poll just narrowly suggested that I go out and film some content. So relating back to that company owning a football club kind of thing, I'm off to Wales, but I'm off to the champions of the Welsh Premier League tomorrow. I'm off to TNS, who were originally called Total Network Solutions. A company basically sponsored the name of the team. They're still called TNS, but they've changed the name. More on that tomorrow. They were bought out by BT and stuff, but it's horrible. Having a company name as your football team name is a bloody disgrace, but they do play football in England, so it's going to be a great video. Oh my God, you can see I'm buzzing. I'm absolutely buzzing. I think Germany needed Leverkusen to win the Bundesliga, or anyone to win the Bundesliga. Obviously, Dortmund came very, very close last season. Are Wolfsburg seen as plastic too? Much more disliked than Leverkusen. This is interesting. So Wolfsburg are generally more disliked than Leverkusen. Interesting. We're learning some stuff here in the live stream today, guys. So Granit Xhaka is being interviewed at the moment. Again, I'm not going to put any sound on to be copyrighted. This is English coverage, obviously. I've got it on the Discovery Plus app. But incredible. What a signing he was as well. You know, he had quite a good last season at Arsenal, but his relationship with Arsenal and the fans wasn't maybe the best over the years. Alonso saw the potential. Fantastic. Incredible. I wasn't the biggest a fan of Xhaka when he played for Arsenal for obvious reasons, but massive fan of his now. I do love Frimpong as well. Do love Frimpong. Thanks for the comments, guys. Lots of comments. Business as usual. Great goal by Stanley. Yeah. Hope Kane wins something soon. He's a world-class player and a top pro. Yeah. I mean, I thought Bayern were going to get to the final and it was going to be of the Champions League, and it was going to be Bayern versus Dortmund, and I thought Bayern would edge it. I'm fully behind Dortmund, as I said. Loving this season in general, not just with German football clubs as well. We were speaking about it in the live stream. Ipswich Town, obviously double promotions, promoted from the third tier to the second, and then from the second to the first, the Premier League. Incredible story. Wrexham, back-to-back promotions. We've had back-to-back relegations. One of my most local teams, Forest Green. It's been a really, really good football season for all football fans. Maybe not. I mean, I'm saying this as a bloody United fan as well, and I'm still in high spirits. So it must be a good good season. Big up from Ledbury. Where is bloody Ledbury? I've never heard of it, mate. Germany is proud of the 50+1, and Hoffenheim, Leipzig, Leverkusen, Wolfsburg breaks that. Hoffenheim isn't supported by their investor anymore, so it's not anymore, but they have no fans, so it's boring. So yeah, as context, correct me if I'm wrong, Cole, obviously Hoffenheim were a lower league club, so the 50+1 rule didn't apply. Local businessman, was it, bought his local team, his childhood team, ploughed loads of money into them, and basically got them to where they are. So German fans kind of see that as a bit taboo, a bit forbidden. And Leipzig, obvious reasons, Red Bull found an area that didn't have a big team, and they thought, yeah, that'll be good. We'll go for them. Leverkusen or Wolfsburg because of the company ties. So that's where the dislike comes from. Hoffenheim have big Wout Weghorst. I forgot he went there. Christ. He was such a big name. Everyone was speaking about Wout Weghorst. I mean, United probably could have done with him, couldn't they, this season? But then again, Højlund's all right. It's all right. You know, I'm not going to be one of those that say injuries are the cause. Let's not talk about English football too much, because we're very much soaking up the glory of this Europa League semi-final. Look at Joe Cole's face. He's in absolute shock. So am I. Wow. I'm going to sleep well tonight because I am drained from emotion. But as I said, up early tomorrow, filming more content. I just want to say as well, guys, I'm not going to make this a late one. Get your comments in because I'm going to crack on in about 10 minutes' time. I really do appreciate the support so far. It's been an absolute pleasure making content. We're almost at the end of the season, a couple more weeks to go. In terms of videos coming up on the channel, if you are German or you like the Bundesliga content, even if you are a bloody Dortmund fan, we've got their arch rivals, Schalke, the stadium tour to come. We're going to be looking at their old ground as well, where big musicians. Michael Jackson once played there for his Bad tour in '88. You had a variety of big acts playing at their old grounds. We're going to do a bit of coverage on that too. We're also going to be looking at where Cologne, who I don't think have officially been relegated yet, where they play the Rhein-Energie Stadion. I only did an external tour there because I sacrificed my stadium tour ticket to watch Leverkusen versus Stuttgart a couple of weeks ago. I thought that would be a better video for the channel. So more Bundesliga stuff to come. We also got that Champions League final build-up, atmosphere and live watch-along from Wembley. I'm also thinking of doing the same for the FA Cup final, Manchester United versus Manchester City. Again, I'm going to try hard for tickets. Any help, suggestions, I'm willing to overpay. It's not a problem. Give me a shout on Instagram at RiseFootyParadise. Just want to check in with you guys. Lots of you have commented this evening, and I really, again, I do appreciate the support. If you haven't already, check out the Dortmund Stadium Tour. That's the most recent video. The most recent game was Ipswich, when we saw them get promoted. Yeah, KDB played for Wolfsburg, I think. You are correct, Tina. One of the best football games of all time. Interesting. 846 Euro Cup. Thank you for all the info, mate. I appreciate this. This is a learning experience as well as whatever this is. I've got no words to describe. American Gooner here. Proud of Xhaka and his Arsenal redemption story, as well as keeping it going, being integral at Leverkusen. How ironic would it be, mate, that the team he used to play for, known as the Invincibles for that famous season about 20 years ago, would become an Invincible himself for Bayer Leverkusen? It would be incredible. We spoke about it earlier. For me, the most impressive, the biggest achievement in terms of what Bayer Leverkusen have done compared to Leicester has to be Bayer Leverkusen. In terms of the shock value, you could probably edge it to Leicester. Do we need to say one's better than the other? No, both amazing stories, and why we love football, because how boring would it be if Bayern were to win again? City are going to probably win the Premier League again. Let's get rid of this elite mentality. And I think that's why I've loved this season, because people have fought against the elite, broke the mold, and we're seeing some incredible stories. And yeah, football, bloody hell, as Alex Ferguson would say. Leverkusen are doing a reverse of 2002 when they lost the league on the final day, lost the cup final and lost the Champions League final. Germany also lost the World Cup final. Ballack had 4 runners-up medals. Yes, I did. I'm guessing you listened to, was it the Simon Jordan podcast? And he also did, was it Jeff Stelling as well? Football's Greatest. Ballack's done a couple of podcasts where he spoke about that era where basically he lost every final he was in. Just as a bit of context as well, we mentioned it in the Dortmund tour video, that final game of the season, Dortmund were actually 1 point ahead of Leverkusen. So people mention it, talk about it like Leverkusen bottled the league. Kind of did, but Dortmund, I think, were losing. Was it 1-0 or 2-1 or something? Dortmund were losing. Leverkusen had scored. All the fans were celebrating, thought they were going to win the Bundesliga. Dortmund turned it around and obviously ended up winning the league. So it was kind of out of Leverkusen's hands on that final day. You guys will correct me if I'm wrong. I'm learning. I'm loving learning about the Bundesliga. Yeah, that own goal, it would come out. He betted against his own team. Do you reckon Leverkusen have sunk that low? They're actually doing a bit of, imagine that. Imagine they went on an unbeaten run, won 3 titles, and it turned out they were match fixing. That was just dopiness. Just stood there and boom, straight off. You see, I'm sweating, guys. It's absolutely boiling here in England. Really rare. But what is not rare is Leverkusen once again winning, or not winning. They drew, but it feels like a win. Staying unbeaten. 49 games. As a reminder, that's 49 games in total. Arsenal went 49 Premier League games unbeaten. When, of course, a club, I'm not going to rub it in, a club beat them on the 50th game at Stonewall penalty when Rooney got absolutely terrorised in the box. Was it Sol Campbell almost broke Rooney's legs? No one's ever gone a full Bundesliga season without losing. So even if they were to lose the DFB Pokal Cup final, the Europa League final, if Leverkusen went the full Bundesliga season without losing, that's a bloody achievement in itself. So the bar's up here now of Leverkusen. It's crazy. Xhaka comes from the only German club. We've got a Borussia Mönchengladbach fan in the house. I loved the Borussia Park tour. I love learning about the Buckelberg. Again, O's with umlauts on top. It's not it's isn't it? I think, if I'm getting my German correctly, the Buckelberg. Mönchengladbach. I'm getting there, Roy. I'm getting there. Right now, there's a dark cloud over Mönchengladbach. If there is some Borussia fans in the house as well, guys, and you did see the stadium tour, I'd like to publicly apologise, because defallen doesn't mean the bloody donkeys. That's not it is my fault, because I put it up as a video, but I was on the phone. You might have heard my phone kept ringing during that video with David, my German mate from Cologne, who's a Manchester United fan. I said, what does defallen mean? And he was trying to find the translation, and he did say, to be fair to him, like a horse. But then he said donkey, but he might have been calling me a donkey. You know, I just took it as they were the donkeys. They're not the donkeys. Defolen is a young horse because they used to run around like young horses during that golden era. So there we go. Apologies, apologies, Borussia fans. A lot of Xhaka comments going on. Boosh, boom, fantastic. Yes, what a player, what a man, what a man. It's crazy what moving teams can do, and your opinion of those players. Ladies and gents, so we've got the Europa League final set in stone for Leverkusen. Where is the Europa League final being held? Obviously, the Champions League is at Wembley, England's home ground. And as I said earlier, if you are tuning in, we're going to soak up some of that Champions League final atmosphere. But where's the Europa League being held? I've completely forgotten. Commiserations again, if you are an Aston Villa fan, we do make a lot of Villa content because my mum is a Villa fan. I'm sure we'll be back up to Villa Park next season for some games. In terms of English football, guys, we've got the League 2 playoff final. Really random. League 2 playoff final being filmed. I'm heading down to watch I think Doncaster are playing Crewe tomorrow. You got MK Dons versus Crawley. I'm off to watch the winners of those two play in the League 2, which is, if you are German, the 4th tier of English football. That is at Wembley. So we've got that video coming up next weekend. I was originally going on the Saturday to watch the League 1 playoff final, but unfortunately, I can't do the Saturday anymore. But we've got loads of trips to Wembley. So League 2 playoff final. We've got, we might be mooching around Wembley for the FA Cup final between Manchester United versus Manchester City and the Champions League. It's going to be crazy. I love this time of year, guys. And when it's all said and done, speaking of German football, we got the bloody Euros in Germany. It is fantastic. What a time to be alive. What a season. So we've got more comments to quote. Supergroup Electronic getting away with it. Yeah. Again, apologies if I'm looking a bit clueless. My eyesight isn't the best, so I can't always see your comments. Will Schalke, Hanover, Kaiserslautern, Hamburg return? Hopefully. I've seen a lot of Hamburg fans when I've done English stadium tours on the channel, for example, Crystal Palace, Fulham and stuff. There's always German football fans on the tours. They seem to come over and watch their retrospective teams, maybe in Europe, playing West Ham or whatever. And then they jump on stadium tours. But I've seen Hamburg represented quite a bit. Big clubs as well in the Zweite Bundesliga, isn't there? Some massive clubs, Schalke being one of them. Let's just get that bloody... Where's my Schalke high-vis? I kid you not. I went walking the dogs with a Bochum hat on and a Schalke high-vis. Got some looks, got some weird looks. But, yeah. I have debated as well, guys, as we've got a lot of Germans in the comment section. I have been debating whether to go to visit each and every one of the Bundesliga and Zweite Bundesliga stadiums, teams, watch a match, and then maybe come to some sort of conclusion as to whether to maybe support a German team or whether to stay neutral for the benefit of the channel. Because, I mean, my loyalties personally that I don't kind of push out there too much on the channel in terms of England isn't the most popular. Being a Man United fan isn't popular in England. Leeds, Man United, MK Dons, kind of the more disliked teams in England, if you didn't know already. So in Germany, I don't want to divide the audience and kind of support one team over the other, but I am debating whether to start following a German football team because I'm not a tribal kind of person, but when I see ultras and stuff, I didn't think we had any in England until I saw the carnage at Portman Road when Ipswich got promoted this past weekend. Schalke and Nuremberg. Yeah. HSV. Buh. So, St. Pauli, however you pronounce it. I've only heard good things about them. Everyone says you need to visit. Now, David, who told me Defolen meant donkeys, said he's got a soft spot for them. Keep it quiet. So here I am putting it on a public live stream. He said that he loved going to watch them. So that is a team I definitely want to see. Do they play in the Zweite Bundesliga? I think they do. Bundesliga 2. The Europa League final is in Dublin. Yes, of course it is. Oh Christ! Flights to Dublin, guys. We're never going to get tickets. It's all right hovering around Wembley when it's a 2-hour drive, but flying out to Dublin is another thing. So Cheltenham, I live in Cheltenham, by the way, in Gloucestershire. And if you're not from England, it's kind of about 2 hours north of London. It's somewhere between Birmingham and London, but on the Welsh side, which is why I have this hideous accent. But going to Wembley is quite convenient. Easy drive down the M4. So, yeah, a lot of you are saying the final is in Dublin. So there we go. Confirmation, guys. Lots of you getting involved in the comments as well. I really do appreciate it. I don't know. The algorithm showed your channel and I was stoned as hell. Hey, nothing wrong with that, mate. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not one partial to a smoke, but I do love a beer. And I've weirdly, if you did see the Instagram, been on the Shandies, which is a diluted beer, which I'm sure wouldn't be too popular amongst German football fans because your beer is far superior than ours. And we love the fact that you can drink and watch football in Germany. I am going to be doing a video possibly next week or the week after. I spoke about it earlier on. 5 reasons why the Bundesliga is better than the Premier League. That's not to say the Bundesliga is in general better than the Premier League, but 5 things that are better in Germany than in England. So stay tuned for that one. The obvious one being the beer, being able to drink beer whilst watching football. I was at, where was I? I was at Notts County, Meadow Lane. And there was a guy, well, there's a few lads. At Meadow Lane, there's like a bit of a gap with like a fence where you can go and get like drinks and burgers and stuff. And you can kind of watch the game through the fence. You are like on the ground. You have to have a ticket, but you could have a drink and watch through the gate. And the stewards were lined up like holding hands so people couldn't look through the gate whilst drinking their beer because it's illegal to watch football and drink beer at the same time. Pathetic, absolutely pathetic. And I'm sure would be very difficult for Germans to understand the suffering we face by having to congregate in the concourse area to consume our alcohol. Not that we're all alcoholics and stuff, as you'll find at Euro 2024. Beer, and ultras. Yes. So that's the thing, isn't it? I am in 2 minds whether to try and head over for the Euros. Somewhere different. I love the western side. I will struggle to pronounce it. It's is it the Westphalia? What's the area called again? Where I went to in Germany. But I do want to experience some different kind of cultures. The cultures, is that really the right word? Different areas of Germany would be fantastic. I'd love to go to the east again. My last trip to Germany was a whopping like 18 years ago, 2000. Well, it would have been 2006, wouldn't it? Prior to the World Cup, where we went to Berlin, we went to the Olympia Stadion, and off the back of that, for the next few years, I started supporting Hertha, but then just drifted away from the Bundesliga, and obviously came back this season. It's a shame to see Hertha again. They're in Zwei Bundesliga, aren't they? So it's just rediscovering everything, learning. So apologies if I do make mistakes about the German game. I make mistakes about the English game. I'm just dopey. Doesn't mean that I'm not interested and not paying attention. Am I pronouncing this right as well, guys? St. Pauli? How do Germans pronounce St. Pauli? I've heard many a good thing, and I've heard as well the atmosphere is really good. What's the name of the ground again? The stadium? Remind me. Most German stadiums have Stadion written at the end. The atmosphere in English stadiums, I've been to funerals where the mood was much better. Mate, again, this is why I am slightly falling out of love with the Premier League. And again, it's coincidental because United are shite and they've lost 4-0 to Crystal Palace. But it really isn't the reason why I'm losing my love for the Premier League. It's been slowly dwindling over the years. I much prefer the Championship, which is our Tier 2, the equivalent of your Zwei Bundesliga. The atmosphere is shocking. Now, I'm going to sound somewhat hypocritical when I say the tourists, because I'm a football tourist. I've been to Germany, and when I go to the Bundesliga, I'm a tourist, and I'm a bloody YouTuber as well. So everything that probably contributes to the demise of the English football atmosphere. But let's be honest, obviously you guys have the terracing and you watch Stood Up. Our atmosphere definitely died. Probably not the right word to use, actually, off the back of Hillsborough, off the back of the disaster in '89, when all of our stadiums become all-seater because of the tragedy. Was it the Taylor Report? Our atmosphere suffered because of it. There's no getting around it. It's still baffling to me how we can't devise a ticketing system in 2024 whereby we can not just have safe standing, but regular standing, but regulate the amount of people that come into the ground. Obviously, overcrowding is why the disaster happened. So surely we can return to a lot more standing in English football stadiums, because I'm sure the atmosphere would bloody improve. Come to HSV in the future. You're welcome. Appreciate that. I've had a lot of people direct message me on Instagram as well. Apologies if I am slow with replying. I'm just a crap texter anyway. But a lot of you have reached out and said, if you want to come and visit my club, I'll show you around. And I really do appreciate it. The love and support you guys have shown is fantastic. And I'm just a numpty in a bucket hat who loves his football. And what's on now? We've got something on TNT Sports. We've got, what's his name, who does Talk Sport? The Chelsea fan that always does it with Jamie O'Hara. He's talking about something. I don't know what he's going on about. So, I want to know about the pronunciation with St. Pauli. So, the Millerntor St. Pauli Stadion is probably the coolest stadion in Germany. Sweet, man. Yeah, I've heard it's good. I've done a bit of Googling of all the grounds. I think we did a live stream on German football grounds, but it was more about the Euro 2024 grounds. So many, I'm going to call them grounds because stadium is a bit American. Nothing wrong with that. I love you Americans, but grounds, as we call them, love a German ground. Cheers for these, Cole, by the way. Not when you make prices high, that lowly people can't get. Yeah, so ticketing prices, just to do a bit of a comparison, I was speaking to my missus whilst on the dog walk. It's crazy, like, to watch Aston Villa in the Doug Ellis stand, which is essentially a bit of a family section, fairly close to the away fans where we normally sit when I go with my mum, you're paying up to like 67 bloody quid to watch a Premier League game. Manchester United at Old Trafford in the Stretford end, I tend to get tickets a lot better value because I get them off friends who are season ticket holders and can't go. So it's normally about 39 quid, but it's still massive. When I'm talking pounds, English pounds, 39 English pounds is what, 40 something euros. So when German fans are paying what, like, I mean, for the Alemannia Aachen game that saw them get promoted, I think I paid like 20 euros, which is like 17 quid or something. I know it was the fourth tier of German football, but prices, I mean, the fourth tier of English football, like League Two, which would be like Forest Green, for example, one of my local clubs. I think it was, to be fair, it was about 15 quid. So, yeah, it's Premier League, isn't it? Premier League are what are calling the shots and killing the game, guys. So, Volkspark is much better. So we've got a nice debate going on. Ladies and gents, whilst we're here, let's get a little... I'm on here a bit longer than what I thought I would, but as things are going quite well, let's get a banner on the go. I want to hear your thoughts. Best German stadium, I know I was going to say ground, for atmosphere. Let's get a debate on the go. Save, show. Here we go then, guys. Best German stadium for atmosphere. What are we saying? I am very interested to know your thoughts. A lot of people have asked me, said to me, you need to go here, you need to go there. It was ridiculous watching your first Bundesliga game, Bochum versus Hoffenheim. But it was a spur of the moment trip, and I loved Bochum. I loved the Vonovia Ruhr Stadion, something like that. I think it's called. Lovely ground. It reminded me of an English ground, which is probably why I loved it. I felt somewhat at home. But part of the charm of going there was knowing that I had as well other tickets, and the fact that it wasn't a big name lineup. I'd rather start here because it was a good game. I wouldn't say it was down there. It was a good game. I'd rather start here and go up than to start here and drift down, if you know what I'm trying to say. Like, if you're going to watch Premier League football, I mean, Crystal Palace is a really good atmosphere. I think Villa's atmosphere is decent. Just depend on what game you go to, of course. Man United's like really hit and miss. Obviously, if you watched them against Liverpool, would have been fantastic. But can you blame them for this season? Can you blame United fans for being grumbly? Hello from Istanbul. Hello, mate. Nice of you to tune in. As a BVB fan, I'd say the BVB Stadium is crazy. Carl, I swear you said to me, was it you? A Dortmund fan did say off the back of the stadium tour I did, never refer to it as anything but the Westfalenstadion. So I know the BVB Stadium is what it's going to be called for Euro 2024, but the Yellow Wall, probably the most famous, especially over in England. We all talk about the Yellow Wall. We all say it's a bucket list thing. Every football fan should experience the Yellow Wall. But yeah, there's so many kind of ultra sections in German football grounds that I think the Yellow Wall is just that with the volume turned up, isn't it? It's the largest standing terrace in Europe. I think I said it was. It's actually, again, in terms of capacity, just as a reminder, guys, the Westfalenstadion is the biggest in Germany, but obviously at Euro 2024, the capacity is going to be like 62,000. It's going to be a lot lower because of, regulations and stuff, which will make the Olympiastadion in Berlin at Euro 2024 the biggest in terms of capacity for that tournament, and then Bayern's Allianz Arena. What they call in the Allianz at Euro 2024? Surely that name's got to be changed as well. We've got to offer another side of the spectrum, rivals to BVB. We've got a Schalke fan. I have a season ticket for Schalke, and I pay hang on, mate. You pay 453, I'm guessing, euros a year. That is ridiculous. That's crazy cheap. I mean, United isn't that expensive in Premier League terms. You can get a season ticket for like 900 quid. But again, euros, that's like £1,000. So that's like less than half. Crazy. I know you're in the second tier, the Zwei Bundesliga. But yeah, good. You cannot argue with that. That is what you want. That's what every football fan wants to see. Reasonable pricing. We've been priced out the game. I always say the Premier League is now for the middle class. And partly why I started doing YouTube wasn't just to be stupid and wear a bucket hat and chat gibberish. Was firstly because I was doing little kind of features on stuff I was selling on eBay, like football nostalgia and stuff. But it was also because I found that football YouTube is very middle class. A lot of well-spoken lads in their early 20s, late teens, talking gibberish from their bedroom, from what they've seen on telly. Nothing wrong with that. I'm fully honest about how I fell into the armchair supporter category for many years. But I feel like football has become very middle class in England. The working class feel somewhat isolated, and a lot of them have neglected the Premier League or left the Premier League to support some lower league teams. You have to drive a lot if you want to see the best German stadiums. I've got no regrets about hiring a car when I did that visit to Germany. I would definitely do the same thing. I've had a little camper van. I would just drive around all the grounds. Lots of you getting involved. Ladies and gents, it's been amazing. We're getting a little bit away from the Leverkusen stuff, so I just wanted to bask in the glory of another game where Leverkusen haven't lost. 49 unbeaten. Ladies and gents, really appreciate you tuning in. It's been a pleasure. And I'm going to catch up with you maybe tomorrow. I don't know. Stay tuned for the video I'm filming tomorrow. The champions of Wales, the Welsh Premier League, who play, weirdly, in England. 2 teams combined to create the current team. Also, we've got the Schalke Stadium Tour. I'm going to hopefully edit up this weekend and get to you latest on Monday. It's been a pleasure. Appreciate the support, and I'll see you soon. Every Thursday, we're going live. Put it in your diaries, and I'll see you later.